Hi, it's May. So we are on the eve of what is closer to diagnosing a subclinical hypothyroid, which means undiagnosed. And so I've been doing a lot of research over the last year and a half. I have known that there's something wrong with me since I was 13 years old. I went to the doctor several times, had my blood test done, and they say, there's nothing wrong with you. And you just walk away feeling frustrated, like, maybe this is what it actually feels like to be normal. And then you start questioning, well, what else could be wrong with me? Well, maybe I'm always tired because I have depression, I have ABC, and you just accept the answer that you get from the doctors, right? But my mother had a 2.5 pound goiter thyroid removed when she was 27 years old. She had 3 children at that time, so it completely depleted her uh, thyroid hormone, which is very common among women. They get diagnosed after they have kids because it uses so much of a resource from your body. And then her twin brother also had his thyroid removed. And unlike her, who had a hyperthyroid, the high, he had a low one. So, like I said, had my test done. I was in college. I was really exhausted, and the doctor is just like, well, maybe you're depressed. And have had it just several times, and I just always have felt like, oh, well, it's going to be diagnosed eventually someday, and it just never is. So when I started out in nursing, when I was 20 years old, which was like 16 and a half years ago already, I remember sitting in the break room one day reading a magazine or an article of some sort that said that sometimes your thyroid won't show up on a test, so you need to have another test taken. So I always ask the doctors that I worked with, like, do you know what that is? And they didn't know what I was talking about. So I do the Body Beast, right? And the creator of the Body Beast has his Facebook page, and I started doing it really at the beginning of last year. Had done a few workouts before then, but was getting serious about it like a year ago, January. And I just put on his Facebook page that I was going to be doing the hormone diet with it, and he sent me a message back saying, "What's the hormone diet?" Because he specializes in hormones and studies that stuff. And I told him that I have cellulite, and I wanted to get rid of it, and it was like extra estrogen. And he said, get your thyroid checked. And he told me specific tests more than the TSH, T3, and the T4. And I was like, bingo, that's what have been looking for all of these years. So it opened up huge doors for me, and I've been reading books from a endocrinologist that is the medical director of a holistic health center in Michigan, and it has just brought so many things together in research. And so I have found a holistic health doctor who is also an MD that is covered by insurance, which a lot of times you have to pay out of your pocket in cash if you want to go to a naturopathic holistic doctor, and that can be kind of expensive. So we got my insurance to fit her, and now I'm educated and have all this stuff written down, and I can go to her tomorrow and convince her, like, know what to say just to get some tests done. But so far, I have been doing a gluten-free diet for the last 5 years, and this could be like so many different blogs. Everything I talk about is like something that can go into a whole nother talk on its own. But one is like gluten, and gluten attacks the immune system and it can destroy the thyroid. So I've been on a gluten-free diet, and before that, I always remember being at work and not necessarily eating clean foods, and my sugar would spike and I would crash so hard to a point that I would have a nausea and really, really extreme mental fog. And I haven't felt that in years. It's not that I'm not still tired, but I have not put myself through that. And then the fall came around, the winter came around, I came to California. Before that, I would have extreme seasonal affective depression in the Midwest because it would just be like so cold. My body would be using all of its resources and energy just to keep me warm. And so I was always tired. So when I talk about depression, I wasn't like sad, but I was just dead, like no energy whatsoever. And so I had my vitamin D levels checked, and sure enough, they were low. And so I take vitamin D, which many of us are already low on vitamin D. It's very common. And then that didn't really quite work. I don't really have the energy I'm quite looking for. And so I've had B12 injections, and that didn't do anything for me either. I've always been one that when I exercise, like I feel like such extreme like fatigue after it. And everyone else says, "Oh, I have so much energy." I've kind of found like a happy medium. Before I was just working out so hard, I was exerting all my energy. I was like at the highest intensity, and just making sure that I drink plenty of water so that my radiator, so to speak, doesn't get dry. Because when you get dry, you just like your body just can't get the wheels functioning. But I come from a family where obesity runs in it, and I am the only fit person really of my sisters. We grew up on the farm butchering chickens and eating meat and drinking a gallon of milk a day. My mom complaining about us drinking so much milk and potatoes. And when I was a senior in high school, I weighed 133 pounds, and I'm sure that number would have skyrocketed if I continued to eat that way. But I eat so completely different from my family. My sister has had 3 kids, and her metabolism is messed up, and she once was my size, and now she's overweight. And then my little sister has never had kids, and she's a couple inches shorter than me and 70, 80 pounds more than me as well. And so there's like 50 million Americans that have undiagnosed hypothyroidism, and so I feel like we probably all have it. But I've been able to manage it and just be more higher functioning. And so this last spring, I had an iodine test done to see what my iodine levels are in my blood. And I hate to tell you guys, but we don't get enough iodine in our diet. The salt that we get, there's no regulation on how much it can be ionized. So that's another vlog too. So make sure that you follow my blog at amazingenergy.com so that you can see me as I update you after I go to the doctor. But there's just so many different levels, and so treating it is supplements, and I don't want to be taking all kinds of supplements without being under the care of a doctor first. So I'm going to ask her about those, which ones I really should be taking and which ones I shouldn't be. And it's about nutrition, which I'm so happy to see that she believes in treating through nutrition, supplements, holistic, as well as Western medicine. And I'm going to ask her about a certain thyroid med that I don't know, I haven't seen very often with my patients myself. They're usually on the newer drug, but the old-fashioned I hear and read so much about seems to be the most effective, but pharmaceutical companies push this one, and this doesn't quite give people the effect. So I'm going to see if maybe I can just get a little thyroid medication and then see where that goes until I can get my hormonal levels balanced out, because it's a pyramid of your hormones, and your two endocrine hormones, if you don't know what endocrine is your thyroid hormone and your insulin. And so if um, those are off, your thyroid affects every single cell in your body. It's so so when back to that pyramid thing, you have to get your hormones in whack in a certain order. You can't just start on the thyroid, because if you don't have other hormones in order, then it's not going to work. And almost always the cause of a thyroid disorder or underlying is adrenal fatigue. Is very common for people when you're tired from that hypothyroid to drink a lot of caffeine, and you're getting that cortisol reaction from drinking all of that caffeine. And it's also common to need sugar and get addicted to it, because that sugar gives you the high, and gives you that energy that you need, but then you put and pack on the pounds, and your metabolism is already messed up if it's hypo and slowing down and not functioning right. And when you take the sugar in that way, you're just packing on the pounds. So it's really about just getting yourself off of those things that aren't good for you, because the more caffeine you drink, the more fatigue it actually causes. And the same with sugar. It's so hard on your body, actually so addictive, and just really so poisonous to us. So this has been a long process coming. I remember probably 10 or 12 years ago just being on my knees and praying for the Lord to heal me and to give me an answer, and fasting about it. And He does hear you. And it just was a matter of leading me to the right people. Um, I met a Christian friend at a conference that told me about a conference that was here in California, and I went and I met this woman that has a clinic on hormones, and she told me on that, and that really, really, really sparked my interest. And then that I came across this creator of the Body Beast, and then just started studying it, and I've learned so much in the last year and a half. So when I really get some resolve from this, I plan on writing a book on how to heal your thyroid naturally with the foods we eat, just whatever we put in our body, and having like an accompanying cookbook with that, a gluten-free vegan, because the dairy is really hard on the thyroid as well. There's just so much stuff to know, and disease enters our bodies like through what we put in it, right? So how do we put things in our body? Through our mouth. It goes through our skin. We breathe it in, whatever, things from our environment. So it's all about just detoxing ourselves of that stuff and trying to put the cleanest stuff in it we can possible. So I hope I didn't bore you too much, and I will write on my blog when I get answers from the doctor tomorrow. But I just wanted to kind of do a little preliminary talk and share with you what I've learned so far, and then give you an update after tomorrow. All right, thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to my blog.